Hello, gorgeous humans. Welcome to Activated Live. I am so excited to see where today's conversation takes us. What I really want to speak into, well, there's so many things today I want to speak into, and I don't know what we'll end up speaking about because I'll be channeling as usual. I'm going to start this off, though, by talking about what happened this weekend. So, for anyone who doesn't realize, or for anyone who does, it was the eclipse this weekend. It was a new moon eclipse in Libra. And this journal prompt from my really good friend, Mia French, aka Saucy Moo, who will be coming on Iconic, the podcast, at some time in the coming months, Mia included these 3 journal prompts in her eclipse post. I'm going to read them to you. So the first one was, where have I fallen out of alignment with my needs and desires in favor of satisfying and pleasing others? Where have I denied my truth in favor of keeping the peace? How can I cultivate more peace, harmony, and alignment within myself and my relationships that will support my individual growth, transformation, and evolution? And the reason I'm starting with this is this weekend, I was dreading the eclipse, by the way. I was dreading it. I felt like I had flu in the run up to it. I thought it's happening in my second house. So second house is like personal money. I've got a lot in second house. I've got my Pluto, I've got my Saturn, I've got Jupiter though. It was like nice things, right? I've got mixture. And I was dreading it, right? And then I felt amazing. Like that, like late Saturday, Sunday, I felt absolutely amazing, but I was getting the clearest downloads. And my downloads were telling me, so I was, didn't finish that sentence. I am currently running the 3rd and final live round of my Nourished You women's weight loss program. And it is due to start on Monday, the 30th of October. And this download kept coming. You need to start Nourish You tomorrow. You need to start Nourish You tomorrow. You need to start Nourish You tomorrow. So anyone watching this in a future time, that was Monday, the 16th of October. So Spirit was telling me to start the program 2 weeks earlier than I had been advertising it at, before the early bird offer had even ended. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. One, I'd pushed it back from when I was originally going to run it because I was feeling really burnt out because I'd already done 2 rounds back to back. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break and then I'm going to run it later and give myself a nice long break. But 2 is like, you've still got 2 weeks to sell this thing. Like, why would you pull this forward and miss 2 weeks of sales, right? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I was like, I'm going to sleep on this. And the message was still coming through so strong on Monday, like yesterday. And so I was like, well, I've got to do this. And as part of this decision-making process, I was thinking about this journal prompt from Mia. So, where have I fallen out of alignment with my needs and desires in favor of satisfying and pleasing others? So, for anyone that doesn't know, I had an eating disorder for a really long time. And I replaced that eating disorder with very disordered eating. And so I sat on this program for like 2 years because in my head, once I learned, so I lived years and years and years of restricting, right? And I gave myself a whole load of health problems as a result: infertility, losing my menstrual cycle, hormonal acne, burnout, anxiety, depression, all the different things, right, from this disordered eating when I was well recovered after the eating disorder. But when I learn about, okay, how the female body actually decides whether to burn or store fat, and that it's not about calories in, calories out, and how that process ends up messing with our hormones and why we have got a lot of fertility challenges and all the other things that come with it, right? When I learned about the secrets of this, I was like, I need to teach this, I need to teach this, I need to teach this. But I sat on it for 2 years before I did it because I didn't want to be part of the problem, inverted commas, a part of the problem, right? I didn't want anyone thinking they needed to be slim to be desirable, to be successful, all the different things. I didn't want to be part of that narrative. But then I had this thing in the back of my mind, is like, well, the media are doing that. But then what's happening is people are restricting, they're intermittent fasting, they're doing like excessive exercise, they are doing, the shake diets, all the different things, right? They're doing these things anyway. And so I would rather women know, look, if you do want to lose weight, that's fine, but that's not actually what's going to help you have a really healthy metabolism, and it's going to keep the weight off for the rest of your life, so you never have to diet. So you get to eat pizza and cakes and burgers and blah, 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 right? So I had this burning desire to create this program, and I sat on it for 2 years, and then it got to the point of no return when it's like, it has to be birth. This has been my field too long. And I had an invitation from one of my one-to-one clients, was like, if I'd known this when I was 16, I wouldn't have spent the last 20 years of my life on diets and ended up 3 stone heavier. So she's like, you need to go and teach this. And you should be teaching this in every school in the UK. And it's like, okay, well, whatever. So I created it, right? And it was amazing. And I ran a second round and it was amazing. But this third round has felt so heavy. It's just felt so like, I just don't want to talk about this anymore. I feel like I've done my job. I've created this incredible program. You know, I've run 2 rounds of it. I'm going to this third program, and I was so close to pulling it so many times, but I had so many people that had bought it on pre-sale when I was in the second round, when it's too late to join the second round, but I put the third round on pre-sale. And it was like, well, I need to do this for these people because they've already purchased it and they really want it. And if I pull it now, like, they really want this information, blah, blah, blah. It's like not fair on them. And I ran through the whole thing of, do I just drop them in round 2 and they can just do all the catch-ups? Like, what do I do? And I ended up going ahead with it. And the whole like launch process was like fine. You know, it's already, you know, it's a multi-5-figure launch. We've got like 15 women in it right now. It's fine, right? It's fine. But it felt heavy. Even though people were coming in, it just felt so much heavier than the first time around. The first time around, it was like pop in and all the different things. And it's like, it's felt like it's a bit of a drag. And that's because my energy hasn't been behind it. And this is where I've been like, these words, I've fallen out of alignment with my own needs. So I didn't want to talk about weight loss anymore. I didn't want to keep selling this thing, but I was doing it in favor of satisfying and pleasing others, right? So that's the first thing that came through. Where have I denied my truth in favor of keeping the peace? So again, taking this on, it's like, I love business and marketing, right? We know this. And it's like, I've been trying to have 2 accounts, one of them focusing just on the health side and one of them actually being the business thing. And then actually it's just burning me out and making me unable to show up for either of them in like the full way that I want to, because I'm having to like divide my time between these 2 different spaces. And the reason I'm doing that is because I feel like there's so many people in my health community who really get a lot of value from what I do. And it's like, well, if I just suddenly go, guys, I'm not here for this anymore, I'm focused on the business side, which does include the health stuff, obviously, because it's part of what I do. So it's the health and nervous system stuff with the breath work, right? It's all included. It's not like I'm suddenly going to switch off and just be like pure business strategy coach. That's never going to happen. Like, it includes it all, but it's like, oh, there's going to be like pushback and it's too hard. I'll just keep doing them both, right? And then how can I cultivate more peace, harmony, and alignment within myself and my relationships that will support my individual growth, transformation, and evolution? So thinking about my own growth, transformation, and evolution, I can't keep spreading myself really thin to please everybody when some of those places aren't in alignment with what I want to be doing for a living. Like, this is like my life, right? So why am I doing things I don't want to do just because I've done them in the past? What you've done in the past isn't going to get you where you want to go in the future if you keep doing what you've done in the past, right? So in order to get to where you want to get to, if you're in growth, if you're in transformation, if you're your own evolution, you need to start doing things differently. And sometimes that's going to be ending relationships. Sometimes that means ending containers with clients, even if they want to continue working with you, because it's like, well, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm moving to a different space. It might be like raising your prices, right? The pricing might no longer feel aligned with you that you've been doing. And it's like, oh, you signed up on this price, so I'll continue rolling at this price, but really my new price is this. And then you start working with the client at your old price, and then you feel out of alignment. It's like, hang on, my new price is this. And that's why I see the value of this container now. And so just thinking about keeping the peace, like this kind of conversation there, that's another thing that might come through, right? The other thing that you might have come up is like different boundaries. So you may, be doing like weekly calls in your containers when you first start, but then you may decide, well, I only want to do them fortnightly. And then again, you get to change your mind, right? You need to honor what you offered the client that has signed up, right? So if you've offered weekly calls, you need to deliver weekly calls for the length of their container. But when it comes to renewing, if your new boundary is only do fortnightly calls, you need to say it. But sometimes like we bend over backwards and it's like, well, my new package looks like this, but because I've done this for you before, I'll keep doing it like that. I didn't expect to talk about this. This is just coming through. Someone needed to hear this, as I always say when things come out of my head. So anyway, this whole process was like, it's really clear that I'm doing this and I'm creating a business for other people, not for myself. And as a result, I'm just in this people pleasing energy. And also, we also think we're more important than we are, right? So I create all these stories. It's like, well, I need to do this. But it's like, who's really going to care if I pivot? Right? Who's really going to care if I never do another health post again? Well, a few people will, but like nowhere near as many as followers I've got. Like most of them will probably actually quite enjoy that I'm talking about something different for a change and actually like, oh, I'm learning something different. I didn't know about that, Lynda, right? I had an ex-client actually I haven't worked with for at least 2 years, maybe even longer, who actually, I was talking on my stories the other day about perfectionism and how perfectionism leads to burnout. And I was talking about all these different things. And she just like messaged me. It was like, everything you said, it was across 3 Instagram stories. She was like, everything you just said resonated so much. Like, can I do a session with you? And we'd worked together like, yeah, well over 2 years ago on nutrition stuff. Like she'd come to me for hair loss and weight gain and stuff. And she was like, oh no, like this stuff around like perfectionism and burnout's really resonating, right? So people do actually like to see us evolve and like to bring in, like they like to see us what we've learned that we're bringing into our business and what we can then offer and change their lives with. So anyway, so this is the first thing I want to talk about today. So it's like, think about, you're in a relationship with your business, you are in a relationship with your clients, you are in a relationship with your social media accounts, you're in a relationship with so many different things in this journey. And it's a really great time with this eclipse energy still live, because it only happened on Saturday UK time and it was like Sunday in Australia. It's a really great time with this energy just to feel into this, where you're putting others' needs ahead of your own and how it's impacting you. So what I will do is I'll drop those journal prompts and a link to that post, Mia's post, in the show notes on YouTube and on the podcast, just so you can explore that a little bit more. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and this is like come through so wild and clear this week as well, it's been a really great eclipse transformation for me, is we're all dreaming too small. We're dreaming way too small. And when we dream small, the way we behave and the actions we take are then smaller. Because when we're aiming for a financial goal that is achievable, because we've done it loads of times before, and it's like, well, this is just like my bare minimum, I'm going to get this, or just a little bit more, was like, it was a little bit stretchy, do a little bit more to get it, right? We show up in that way. When we, oh, look at the lipstick, when we dream way bigger, it makes us show up in a completely different way. But don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that we need to do more. Showing up differently doesn't equate to doing more. So yesterday morning, Monday morning, I was like, this is going to be a 20K sales week. 20K sales week is not as big as it sounds. 20K sales week is like 2 one-to-one clients signing on at 10 grand, 4 one-to-one clients signing on at 5 grand, 6 one-to-one clients signing up at like 3,333. I think it was something like 2,875 or something like that. It's probably the wrong number. Amount of sales each day for 7 days, like having 3 grand of sales every day for 7 days. Like that is very achievable, particularly if you've got a structure where you have lots of different offers, where you've got a higher touch one-to-one, you've got like a medium touch one-to-one, you've got group program, you know, and then you may also have things like memberships and mastermind. You might have like one-off intensives, you have different things, right? It can add up very quickly. But if you're in a place of like, I want like a 10K month, or I wanted like a 20K month, like you're only targeting like 2.5 grand a week or 5 grand a week or whatever. What if you made 20 grand a week a reality. Give yourself evidence that's possible. Repeat it 4 times. You've got an 80 grand plus for the extra days in a month. Like, how insane is that? And so I set this goal yesterday. I was like, I'm going to have a 20K week. And I'm not attached to it, right? It's like, I might not have a 20K week, but why not believe I'm going to have a 20K week? And then how do I show up if I am the person having a 20K week? Well, what I didn't do, I didn't post at all on social media yesterday. So it wasn't like I was going to do more. What I did do was I went on my stories and I sold. So I didn't have the time in my day to create some content, but I did have the time in the day to go in my stories and tell them I had something available for them to buy. So obviously I was telling everyone that Nourished You was going live that day and they could come and buy. I went on my business page and I talked about the fact I'd started a program 2 weeks early. Who in the world is confident enough in their sales that they will be happy to close the doors 2 weeks early instead of like selling till the very end because they're so worried about getting more people in? This is a great energy to be in. Why don't you buy my 30-day sales rocket ship intensive where we map out your 60 to 90-day strategy to have your multi-5-figure launch? So I did that on my stories, right? And I've done the same today. I've gone live. I've told people I've got stuff available. But I also, at the time of recording this at 4:30 p.m, have still not posted on social media yet. I will do, because I need to post today because I can't not post like every day. I will do an Instagram post. But what I did earlier was I didn't get out of the house yesterday. I had like loads of client sessions. I ran out of time. I was like, I haven't like left the house. And I was like, I don't want to get to 5 o'clock and not have time to get out of the house and go for a quick walk before I have to go and get my boys at like 5:30. So at 11:30, instead of sitting down and writing a post and posting at like 12:31 like I usually do, I was like, well, if I'm someone that's having 20K week, I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of my physical body. I'm taking care of my mental health. And I'm getting myself out in nature and moving my body every single day. I'm not sitting at my computer. Sorry, there's a bit of like reflection going on here. I'm not sitting at my desk all day long being there for everyone else. And what do you know? Go out for a walk, come back. One of my one-to-one clients is like, can we sign up for another 3 months, right? So sale came through anyway, even though I hadn't done the social media post. So I want to invite you to just start to dream bigger with the goals that you set yourself. And this doesn't have to be financial, right? I'm using a financial goal as an example, but you could set other goals for yourself. You know, you could set goals for how much free time you have in your day, or it could be, you know, what PB you set at the gym, or, you know, whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to be a financial goal. I want to try and move out of the shadow. Is this really annoying? We'll wrap up soon. I'll leave it as is. But if you don't dream bigger, you're just going to like keep showing up as yourself, because it's very easy just to get a little bit more. But when you're trying to get a lot more, you're going to show up more. So if I want a lot more, I'm going to sell a lot more. I'm going to tell people, I'm going to make people aware of all the different ways they can work with me this week, which they probably didn't know about. They probably just knew about my 6-month Fierce Feminine Ascension program. They probably didn't know that they can do these other things, right? I might wrap this up there and then speak more into this next week or a future week, because I feel like it's a really good place just to leave you that prompt. And also this light is really frustrating. Oh, I've moved out of it now. But I do feel quite complete. So homework, I'm going to drop these journal prompts in for you, and you can play with those and see what comes up. And then I want you to think about where in life, in business, you are not dreaming big enough. Sorry, this last thing I want to say this. When we dream bigger, I missed this bit out, but I kind of touched on it, but I didn't actually say what I was meaning to say, is we have to fundamentally change our identity. So if I am somebody who has 20K weeks and 80K months, I can't be the Lynda that has 5K weeks, 20K months, whatever it is, right? Whatever the equivalent is. My identity needs to be different. Like, I am going to be a different person. So maybe it's even the podcasts or the books, the people you expose yourself to are different when you were that person. Maybe it's like that version of you invests in a different way. Maybe that person in you goes from buying like £1,000 launch and sell your program courses to investing in a 6-month mentorship because you want to step into this bigger version of you. Maybe this version of you goes, instead of just like doing at home 20-minute workouts, goes to the gym and spends an hour there. I don't know. Doesn't really matter how the different person comes in. It's more that thinking about, okay, if I had this, whatever that desire is, how would I be showing up differently? And then show up that person now. So this is what I was saying with the walk, right? 5K a week Lynda lets her walk go and just focuses on like sitting on the computer and getting the jobs done. Whereas 20K a week Lynda creates a space in a diary to look after her physical and mental health and will get out for a walk and know that the money's still coming in, whether I'm on a walk or I'm writing an Instagram post, the sales are still going to come regardless. And I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to feel better. And I'll actually be more inspired and have more creativity. I actually walked in from that walk and started writing an Instagram post. I've not posted it, but I started writing the Canva template for it. Like, you're going to get the inspiration in these places. The inspiration comes in the shower, when you're driving, when you're on the walk, when you're in the gym, when you're cooking, wherever it is. It never comes from sitting at the computer. So there we go. It's another Activated Live done. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop me a DM on Instagram. Let me know what you loved about this, your greatest takeaway, anything that comes up for you, any action you're going to take. If you signed up, hit reply to one of the emails. You can let me know there. If you're not signed up to receive these, do sign up, because then you can join the Voxer broadcast group and you can get real-time riffs as I'm moving through stuff, the challenges that are coming up, the big wins that I've had, the decisions that I've made. So rather than waiting for these, which are like more like, you know, longer form teaching, inverted commas teaching is not really teaching, but you know, these longer things, you'll just get like real-time riffs with me. So definitely sign up to jump inside of that Voxer broadcast group. And I'm going to move out of these shadows. Thank you so much for being here. Sending lots of love.